Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the life you are living is not the life you want. The routines you've fallen into, the habits you've carried for years, the fears you've allowed to control your decisions, they have built a version of yourself that feels stuck, limited, and Self-reflection is the foundation of rebuilding yourself. It is the quiet, often uncomfortable process of looking inward and honestly assessing who you are, where you are in life, and where you truly want to go. Many people go through life on autopilot, reacting to circumstances, letting habits dictate their days, and measuring success by external standards rather than their own vision. Rebuilding yourself requires stopping, pausing, and taking a hard look at your own life, not as a critic, but as an observer and architect of your future. It begins with asking yourself the hard questions. Am I living intentionally, or am I drifting? Are my actions aligned with my deepest values, or am I merely chasing what seems convenient or expected? These questions are not easy, and they may uncover uncomfortable truths, but without them, change is impossible. You cannot build a new structure on a shaky foundation, and without self-awareness, any attempt to rebuild will crumble under pressure. Self-reflection also means recognizing patterns that have been holding you back. Often we repeat the same mistakes over and over, wondering why life does not seem to reward our effort. The truth is, our past choices and habits leave invisible footprints that shape our present reality. By examining these patterns honestly, you begin to see where you have been sabotaging yourself, whether through procrastination, negative thinking, fear of failure, or unhealthy relationships. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. It allows you to distinguish between what is truly yours to change and what is simply external noise you need to ignore. This clarity is liberating because it puts the power squarely back in your hands. Another critical aspect of self-reflection is identifying your strengths and values. Too often, people focus only on their weaknesses, but building yourself requires understanding the qualities you already possess. What are you naturally good at? What do you value most in life? Which moments have given you the deepest satisfaction and sense of purpose? By answering these questions, you create a blueprint for rebuilding yourself in a way that is authentic and sustainable. Strengths are the bricks you can build with, and values are the mortar that holds them together. Without this alignment, even the most impressive achievements may feel hollow because they are not rooted in who you truly are. Self-reflection is not a one-time exercise. It is an ongoing practice, like maintaining a garden. Thoughts and habits need constant attention and adjustment. As you grow, your understanding of yourself deepens, and your priorities may shift. What once mattered may no longer serve your vision, and recognizing this early allows you to pivot before getting stuck in paths that lead nowhere. Journaling, meditation, or simply taking quiet moments each day to think critically about your actions and decisions can be incredibly powerful. Even asking yourself daily, did I act today in a way that aligns with who I want to become, can create a chain reaction of self-awareness that fuels personal growth. Self-reflection also teaches humility and patience. You cannot rebuild yourself overnight, and honest introspection often reveals areas of weakness, gaps in knowledge, or past regrets that require careful attention. Rather than feeling discouraged by these revelations, they should be seen as opportunities for learning. Each insight gained is a stepping stone. Understanding where you have fallen short is not a sign of failure, it is a map guiding you toward improvement. Recognizing that growth is a process allows you to embrace small, consistent steps rather than seeking instant transformation. Finally, self-reflection reconnects you with your purpose. When life feels overwhelming, it is easy to lose sight of why you are working so hard, why you endure challenges, and why you seek change. By regularly looking inward, you clarify your why. And this clarity becomes a guiding light as you rebuild. Purpose gives energy to your efforts, focus to your actions, and meaning to your sacrifices. Without it, even the most disciplined efforts can feel empty. Self-reflection ensures that every step you take in rebuilding yourself is intentional, rooted in understanding, and aligned with the life you genuinely desire. Embracing change and letting go of the past is one of the most challenging yet essential steps in the process of rebuilding yourself. Too often, people carry the weight of yesterday, regrets, mistakes, disappointments, and even perceived failures, like a heavy coat that never comes off. The problem is that clinging to the past creates a false sense of security while simultaneously trapping you in patterns that prevent growth. Rebuilding yourself requires the courage to release what no longer serves you, to acknowledge that your past is not your prison, and to recognize that real freedom comes when you allow yourself to move forward unencumbered. Letting go does not mean forgetting or dismissing your experiences. It means learning from them, extracting the lessons, and then intentionally leaving behind the emotional baggage that keeps you tethered to what was. Change is inevitable. Life is a river, constantly flowing, and resisting it is like trying to hold water in your hands. The sooner you accept that nothing stays the same, the sooner you can adapt and leverage change to your advantage. Many people resist change because it is uncomfortable or uncertain, but comfort rarely leads to growth. True transformation begins at the edge of your comfort zone, in moments where the old version of yourself no longer suffices and the future calls for something stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Every challenge, every disruption, and every unexpected twist in life is an opportunity to rebuild, a chance to strip away what is outdated and make space for something better. Recognizing this reframes change from a threat into a tool for self-creation. Letting go of the past also means confronting your own narratives and the stories you tell yourself about who you are. Often, people define themselves by what they have endured, by their failures, or by the opinions of others. These stories become mental chains that hold them back from stepping into their full potential. To rebuild yourself, you must rewrite the narrative. You must look at the chapters of your life with clarity and discernment, keeping the wisdom and releasing the regret, keeping the lessons and discarding the shame. This is not an easy task because the past is familiar and often feels safe, even when it is limiting. It requires self-honesty, courage, and the willingness to embrace a new identity that may feel unfamiliar or even frightening at first. Embracing change also requires resilience and adaptability. Life will always test you with circumstances that cannot be controlled, whether it is the loss of a job, a broken relationship, or unforeseen setbacks. What defines a person is not the challenge itself, but how they respond. Rebuilding yourself means choosing to see disruption as an invitation to grow rather than a defeat. It is about shifting your mindset from resistance to curiosity, asking, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to become stronger? The past may shape you, but it does not define you unless you allow it to. By embracing change, you reclaim your agency, making conscious decisions rather than reacting out of fear or habit. Another important aspect of letting go is forgiving yourself and others. Holding on to grudges, resentment, or guilt ties you to people, events, and outcomes that you cannot change. Forgiveness is not about condoning the wrongs or erasing history. It is about freeing yourself from the emotional chains that keep you anchored in the past. When you forgive, you create the mental and emotional space necessary for rebuilding. You begin to invest your energy in creating the future you desire rather than replaying the pain of what has already happened. It is in this space that true growth becomes possible, where old wounds transform into wisdom, and where old patterns dissolve to make room for new habits and perspectives. Finally, embracing change and letting go of the past is a continual practice. Life will constantly test your attachment to comfort, your fear of uncertainty, and your resistance to transformation. Each day presents small moments where you can choose to release what is outdated and embrace what is new. It may be as simple as changing a habit, ending a toxic relationship, or saying yes to an opportunity that scares you. Every conscious choice to let go, to accept change, and to step into the unknown reinforces your ability to rebuild yourself stronger, more flexible, and more aligned with your vision. Over time, what once felt like a leap of faith becomes a natural rhythm of life, a dance with change that transforms you into someone who does not merely survive but thrives. Committing to consistent personal growth is the heart of rebuilding yourself. It is not a one-time effort, a burst of inspiration, or a temporary fix. It is a deliberate, ongoing practice that shapes your character, your habits, and your destiny. Many people wait for the perfect moment to improve, imagining that transformation will happen overnight or that some grand event will trigger change. But real growth is incremental, almost invisible at first, like water carving its way through stone over centuries. Every small decision you make, every skill you practice, every habit you cultivate compounds over time, building momentum that eventually produces extraordinary results. The key is consistency, the commitment to show up for yourself every day, even when motivation wanes and progress feels slow. Personal growth begins with awareness, but it thrives on action. Awareness alone is not enough. Knowing what needs to change without taking steps to act is like having a map, but refusing to walk the path. Consistent growth means translating understanding into practice, embedding positive habits into your daily routine, and refusing to let excuses or fear dictate your actions. It may be waking up earlier to dedicate time to learning, choosing to read or listen to ideas that stretch your thinking, or deliberately practicing skills that enhance your effectiveness. Each day, every small investment in yourself accumulates, creating a reservoir of capability and confidence that cannot be taken away. Commitment to personal growth also demands discipline. It requires doing what is necessary, not what is easy. Growth is uncomfortable because it often challenges your existing patterns, pushes against your comfort zone, and exposes your weaknesses. Yet, the discomfort is proof that you are stretching beyond your limitations. Discipline bridges the gap between knowing and becoming. It is the consistent application of effort toward improvement, even when the immediate rewards are invisible. Whether it is developing emotional intelligence, improving physical health, enhancing professional skills, or cultivating meaningful relationships, growth requires repeated practice, patience, and persistence. Another vital aspect of personal growth is a mindset of lifelong learning. Those who rebuild themselves understand that they never arrive, they are never finished, and they never stop evolving. Every experience, whether success or failure, contains lessons waiting to be uncovered. By approaching life with curiosity, humility, and openness, you transform challenges into opportunities for learning and setbacks into stepping stones for improvement. Growth is fueled by the desire to learn from every interaction, every decision, and every reflection on your life. The person who grows consistently is the one who refuses to settle for mediocrity, who understands that the best investment is in themselves, and who views each day as a chance to become slightly better than the person they were yesterday. Personal growth also thrives on accountability. Consistency is easier when you establish structures, routines, and systems that support your goals. This may include tracking your progress, setting measurable objectives, or surrounding yourself with individuals who inspire and challenge you. Accountability ensures that growth does not rely solely on fleeting motivation or willpower, which are often unreliable. It transforms good intentions into tangible results. Growth is not accidental. It is cultivated through conscious decisions, deliberate effort, and repeated practice. Furthermore, committing to personal growth requires patience and resilience. Change rarely happens instantly, and the journey can feel long and, at times, discouraging. You may stumble, face setbacks, or experience periods where progress seems invisible. Yet, those moments are part of the process, and perseverance through them is what differentiates those who rebuild themselves from those who stagnate. The most powerful transformations are rarely flashy. They are steady, gradual, and consistent, built brick by brick through daily effort and unwavering dedication. The person who commits to growth understands that slow progress is still progress and that the cumulative effect of small improvements is unstoppable. Finally, consistent personal growth is transformative because it creates self-trust. When you dedicate yourself to becoming better, you prove to yourself that you can change, that you can rise above limitations, and that your potential is not fixed. This self-trust becomes the foundation for every other aspect of rebuilding yourself. It gives you the courage to take risks, the resilience to face challenges, and the confidence to pursue opportunities that once seemed impossible. Growth is not merely about acquiring skills or knowledge. It is about creating a version of yourself capable of achieving more, contributing more, and living more fully. It is the ongoing act of becoming, and in that commitment, you discover the profound power of your own potential. Developing resilience and mental toughness is one of the most crucial elements in rebuilding yourself, because life is rarely predictable, and challenges are inevitable. Resilience is not simply enduring hardships, it is the ability to confront adversity, adapt, and grow stronger through the experience. Mental toughness is the discipline of the mind to remain focused, calm, and determined, even when circumstances feel overwhelming. Together, they form the backbone of personal transformation. Without resilience, the pressures of life can leave you defeated, frustrated, or paralyzed, and without mental toughness, even the smallest obstacles can feel insurmountable. Rebuilding yourself demands that you cultivate both, so that no matter what happens, you remain anchored in your purpose and committed to your growth. Life will test your limits, often in ways you cannot predict. A setback may appear suddenly, a loss, a failure, a broken relationship, or a missed opportunity, and it can shake your confidence and sense of direction. The key is not to avoid these challenges, because avoidance is temporary and ultimately powerless. The key is to develop the capacity to face them directly, to acknowledge the pain or disappointment, and then to move forward with clarity and determination. Resilient people understand that setbacks are not permanent, that failure is not a reflection of their worth, and that the path to success is rarely linear. They see obstacles as opportunities to learn, adapt, and refine their approach, rather than as reasons to give up or settle for less. Mental toughness begins with the mastery of your thoughts and emotions. Life will constantly provoke fear, doubt, and frustration, but the mentally tough person learns to observe these emotions without being controlled by them. They recognize that the mind can either be a source of limitation or a source of empowerment. By training your mind to focus on solutions rather than problems, to seek lessons in adversity rather than dwelling on misfortune, and to persist despite discomfort, you build a mental resilience that becomes second nature. This mental discipline allows you to remain calm under pressure, to think clearly in moments of crisis, and to make decisions that align with your long-term goals rather than short-term impulses. Resilience and mental toughness also involve embracing responsibility for your own outcomes. It is easy to blame circumstances, other people, or bad luck when life feels difficult, but those who rebuild themselves understand that the power to change resides within. Taking responsibility does not mean being hard on yourself. It means acknowledging your role in every situation and asking, what can I do differently? How can I improve? How can I respond more effectively next time? This mindset shifts you from a position of helplessness to one of agency. You stop being a passive observer in your life and become the architect of your future. Another critical aspect of resilience is persistence. The road to rebuilding yourself will include repeated tests, and often progress comes in fits and starts rather than in steady, predictable increments. Persistence is the willingness to keep moving forward, even when results are not immediate or visible. It is the commitment to continue improving, learning, and adapting, even when the effort feels exhausting or the path unclear. This is where mental toughness and resilience intersect. The mind pushes the body forward, the heart maintains hope, and the soul stays anchored in purpose. Over time, the repeated practice of persistence builds confidence, strengthens character, and creates momentum that carries you through even the most difficult seasons. Resilience is not a solitary pursuit. It is strengthened by perspective, support, and reflection. Mentors, friends, and environments that encourage growth help you see challenges from a different angle, offering insight, guidance, and encouragement when your own strength feels insufficient. At the same time, resilience grows through self-reflection, analyzing how you have responded to challenges, identifying what worked and what did not, and learning from the experience. This combination of external support and internal evaluation ensures that each trial contributes to your development, rather than merely testing your endurance. Ultimately, developing resilience and mental toughness transforms more than your ability to endure adversity. It transforms your entire approach to life. It creates confidence in your ability to handle uncertainty, courage in the face of fear, and patience when progress is slow. It allows you to approach challenges not with dread or avoidance, but with curiosity and determination. It equips you to rebuild yourself with strength that is not fragile, ambition that is grounded, and a spirit that remains unshaken regardless of circumstances. The stronger your resilience and mental toughness, the more capable you become of turning obstacles into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, and challenges into stepping stones toward the life you are building. Surrounding yourself with the right influence is a vital step in the process of rebuilding yourself, because the people and environments you choose shape the version of yourself that emerges. Life is not lived in isolation, and the quality of your relationships, the energy you absorb, and the values reflected back to you have a profound impact on your growth. Many people underestimate the power of influence, believing that transformation is purely an internal battle of willpower and discipline. While personal effort is critical, it cannot exist in a vacuum. The habits, mindsets, and attitudes of those around you seep into your consciousness, often silently shaping your behavior, your thinking, and ultimately your results. To rebuild yourself effectively, you must intentionally curate the influences in your life, drawing inspiration and guidance from those who elevate, challenge, and encourage your best self. The first step is recognizing that not all influence is positive. Toxic relationships, environments filled with negativity, and constant exposure to cynicism or mediocrity can slowly erode confidence, motivation, and vision. Even subtle patterns, friends who constantly complain, coworkers who discourage ambition, or media that promotes fear and limitation, can subtly shape the way you think about yourself and your potential. These influences are like weeds in a garden, growing quietly but choking the life out of the plants you want to flourish. Rebuilding yourself requires the courage to distance yourself from what no longer serves you, to remove negativity from your environment, and to protect your energy. This is not selfishness. It is self-preservation and a necessary act of prioritizing your growth over the comfort of familiarity. Once you create space, the next step is to surround yourself with people and influences that inspire growth. Seek out those who embody the qualities you aspire to develop: resilience, discipline, creativity, integrity, and optimism. Observe how they handle challenges, how they communicate, and how they pursue their goals. Influence is not about imitation. It is about learning from example and adopting the strategies, habits, and mindsets that align with your own values and vision. Mentors, coaches, and role models provide insight that would otherwise take years to discover on your own, helping you navigate obstacles with greater clarity and confidence. Likewise, peers who are equally committed to growth create an environment of accountability and motivation, where progress is celebrated, challenges are met with encouragement, and excellence becomes the norm rather than the exception. Influence also comes from the content, ideas, and experiences you consume daily. Books, podcasts, seminars, and educational programs shape your thinking as much as the people you interact with. When you fill your mind with inspiration, wisdom, and constructive challenges, you cultivate the tools necessary to rebuild yourself effectively. Conversely, passive consumption of negativity, distraction, or fear can reinforce limiting beliefs and slow progress. Curating what you allow into your mind is as critical as curating your social circle, because your thoughts directly determine your actions and decisions. The influences you choose are the scaffolding that supports your personal development, and selecting them intentionally accelerates the process of transformation. Surrounding yourself with the right influence also requires reciprocity. Influence is a two-way street. Just as you absorb energy from others, you contribute your own energy to those around you. Rebuilding yourself in isolation limits perspective and growth, but engaging with others who challenge and inspire you creates a dynamic exchange that strengthens both parties. Sharing insights, offering encouragement, and engaging in meaningful dialogue sharpen your understanding, reinforce your commitments, and increase your resilience. Influence, when actively nurtured, becomes a network of growth that sustains you through setbacks, motivates you through plateaus, and celebrates your victories alongside you. Furthermore, the right influence helps you stay aligned with your vision when distractions or doubts arise. Life is filled with competing priorities, external pressures, and moments of uncertainty. Without supportive influences, it is easy to drift, to compromise on your standards, or to succumb to self-doubt. Surrounding yourself with individuals and environments that reinforce your goals and values acts as a compass, keeping you on track when the path is unclear. Their belief in your potential reminds you of what is possible when your own confidence wavers, and their example demonstrates the results of consistent effort, discipline, and focus. Ultimately, the influence you surround yourself with determines the speed and quality of your growth. It shapes your mindset, your habits, and your expectations of what is possible. By intentionally choosing mentors, peers, and environments that elevate, challenge, and inspire you, you create a fertile ground for rebuilding yourself into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. Influence is not merely external. It is the silent architecture of your transformation, guiding your choices, fueling your resilience, and reflecting the person you are becoming. In essence, rebuilding yourself is not just an internal journey. It is also a deliberate act of curating the people, ideas, and energies that will lift you to the next version of yourself. Taking action relentlessly is the final and perhaps most crucial step in rebuilding yourself, because ideas, plans, and intentions alone cannot create transformation. You can read every book, attend every seminar, and develop every insight, but until you act, your potential remains dormant. Action is the bridge between who you are today and the version of yourself you are building. It is the practical application of your knowledge, discipline, and vision. Relentless action means showing up consistently, refusing to wait for the perfect conditions, and pushing forward even when the path is unclear or the results are invisible. It is the habit of turning thought into behavior, ideas into tangible results, and ambition into measurable progress. Without action, reflection, resilience, growth, and influence are powerless, because transformation is forged through doing, not just thinking or planning. Relentless action requires courage. It means moving forward despite fear, uncertainty, or self-doubt. Every step toward rebuilding yourself will involve risk, because growth inherently requires stepping beyond what is familiar and comfortable. Fear whispers that you are not ready, that you might fail, or that you are not capable, but relentless action ignores the whisper and presses forward anyway. Courage does not eliminate fear, it channels it into determination. It is the understanding that action, even imperfect action, is better than stagnation. Each choice to act, to push beyond hesitation, builds confidence and momentum, creating a chain reaction that propels you toward your goals. Action is also fueled by clarity and purpose. It is not enough to act randomly or frantically. The key is to act in alignment with your vision for yourself. Every step, no matter how small, should serve a greater objective, a deliberate plan to rebuild the person you want to become. Relentless action is strategic, focused, and intentional. It prioritizes what matters, eliminates distractions, and channels energy into what produces tangible progress. When you pair clarity of purpose with the discipline to act daily, even small improvements compound over time into extraordinary results, turning vision into reality in ways that are both measurable and transformative. Consistency is the heartbeat of relentless action. Progress is rarely immediate, and results often lag behind effort. It is tempting to give up when the initial excitement fades, when obstacles appear, or when results seem slow. Those who rebuild themselves understand that consistency, not occasional bursts of effort, creates lasting change. Each day, each task, each decision to show up contributes to the cumulative growth that eventually becomes undeniable. The key is to act whether or not you feel motivated, to act when conditions are imperfect, and to act even when the outcome is uncertain. Over time, relentless, disciplined action builds habits, skills, and momentum that make further progress inevitable. Relentless action also requires adaptability. While commitment to movement is essential, rigidity can hinder growth. Life is unpredictable, and circumstances often demand adjustment. Taking action relentlessly does not mean blindly repeating the same steps. It means observing, learning, and adapting while maintaining forward momentum. It involves reflecting on results, identifying what works, correcting what does not, and continuously refining your approach. The combination of action and adaptability ensures that effort is not wasted, and that every challenge becomes an opportunity to improve, innovate, and grow stronger. Moreover, taking action relentlessly builds resilience in itself. Each step forward, each risk taken, and each challenge confronted strengthens your confidence and your capacity to endure future trials. Action is the antidote to fear and doubt. It shifts energy from contemplation to creation, from hesitation to progress. Even small victories achieved through consistent action reinforce your belief in your ability to influence your life, creating a sense of agency and momentum that carries you through setbacks and obstacles. Action transforms potential into capability, ideas into results, and aspirations into tangible achievements. Finally, relentless action is the ultimate differentiator between those who dream and those who rebuild themselves. Knowledge, insight, reflection, resilience, and influence are all critical, but without action, they remain dormant. Transformation is not a theoretical exercise. It is a practical, daily commitment to showing up, doing the work, and persevering until your goals are realized. It is through relentless action that you close the gap between who you are and who you are capable of becoming, that you prove to yourself that change is possible, and that you ultimately create a life defined not by potential, but by achievement. As we reach the end of this journey together, remember this: rebuilding yourself is not about erasing the past, pretending it never happened, or becoming someone else entirely. It is about choosing every single day to take the lessons, the struggles, and the experiences you've lived through and using them as fuel to create a stronger, wiser, and more empowered version of yourself. It is about embracing change, committing to growth, surrounding yourself with the right influences, cultivating resilience, and, above all, taking relentless action. The power to transform your life has always been within you. The bricks, the tools, the materials for this reconstruction are yours to wield. What you decide to build today will define the life you live tomorrow. So step forward with courage, embrace the challenges, trust in your ability to rise, and commit to the process of constant improvement. Your potential is limitless, and the best version of yourself is waiting to be realized. Good luck on your journey. Thank you for giving your time, your attention, and your willingness to start rebuilding. Remember, your future is in your hands, and it begins now.